Hi guys, it's me, Kat, MrsHandyRU. How you guys doing? Look who we have with us today.
Hi everybody.
We have our friend Lisa D.
Hey.
And she's here to decode with us. So we're both going to work on it. And I think you guys will enjoy it.
Yes. So, today we are going to decode Bob Ross.
Yeah.
So I think Kathy asked me like who we should decode him. And I thought she has so many great topics going. But everybody loves Bob Ross.
Yeah, he's an icon. Yes, he's one of my heroes. And we were wondering which topic to cover. And Lisa's got a pile.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
She dragged out so much paperwork. And we're going to ask who, if you can leave in the comments who you might like to decode next.
Yeah.
Andrew Gold, which if you don't know, that is thank you for being
a friend.
A friend and
song.
Lonely
Boy.
So those are really good videos, and we'll probably put the link in the YouTube.
In Midsummer Murder, I have an episode, and it's about a civil war that was going on in Midsummer Murders. It's on YouTube.
That's pretty interesting.
It talks about Diana and children.
And this one is...
And that one is about Sandy Hook and who is really behind Sandy Hook. And it's not who you think it is.
And this packet is about Diana.
Yeah, there's a packet about Diana.
The size 10 shoe.
Yes, size 10 shoes.
And this one is remember to watch...
Yeah, Bushcraft Bear. This is a reminder more than a topic. So remember to watch him.
Yeah, and if you haven't, check him out.
Yeah.
A good favorite. Agatha Christie.
Yeah. Who was Agatha Christie?
Yes. And what did we see about... I can't even let it go. It's a secret until we get it.
You can say it. No, it's okay.
It was just so interesting to see how many different novels she had and sub-novels and Agatha... And then Christie for Christ and, Agony.
Yeah.
But how cool is that one? I kind of really want to do more on that one. So
push for that one.
We'll push for that, but we're going to wait to see what everybody else wants.
And this I hadn't marked, but it's Pride and Prejudice. That I think it was a '94 movie. It was on A&E. It was a long miniseries, and it was with Colin Firth, and there's comms all in there.
And then you did a little bit on SG&On.
Yep.
And
that, we don't need to talk about that one. That's just a blurb.
So
we don't need blurbs.
A lot of great topics. So maybe, or even if you have your own topic that you can leave in the comments and we'll start decoding. So pretty cool. All right. Bob Ross it is.
Yeah. So we're working on Bob Ross. And so the joy of painting, in case you're new to the planet, you don't know who Bob Ross was. He was on public TV for years. Now I didn't write down how long. For years, teaching you how to paint, and it was the wet on wet method of painting, which was pretty new. Nobody had done that before. But the joy of painting in Jewish gematria is 1485, and it equals the second coming of Jesus. And that's not a coincidence, because that's kind of what we've been talking about right along. And I am the queen of heaven. Okay, so we have a Diana reference right there. And we have the flattening of the curve. So all that matches the joy of painting. You'll understand the flattening of the curve eventually.
Okay. Well, what I thought was pretty interesting is when you write out the word and you see, Robert Ross, but we also took his middle name, Robert Norman Ross. Yeah. But all the R's, how many R's there were, how many O's, how many S's. Yeah. And then what did you figure out with that?
Oh, it just when they pick these made up names to either, make comments in a video or as a character on TV, or things like that, they use a lot of double letters, triple letters, quadruple. So Robert Ross has 3 R's. So we have like R and on, right? And 3 O's. And I always look at O's as omegas. And if you have a lot of A's, like alphas. And let's see. And then even in just Bob Ross, there were 2 B's and 2 S's. And that's like, what?
Bullshit.
BS. That's because that's what Bob Ross is. It's not real. Sorry, that was loud. I just blew out somebody's earphones.
Yeah, that's all right.
I cracked myself up. It's sad.
His dad's name was Jack. That to me jumped out. And a brother, Jimmy, or Jim.
Yep.
Half brother, excuse me.
That's okay.
Oh,
and you had this one.
Yeah. So when we went to, and we pulled up Bob Ross in Gematria, and it equals 364, but it was pretty cool because it's all lies, just like the B's and the S's for BS. It's all lies. What is it? A couple more.
And Agent T. Lark, like Timberlark, and his right hand, and you go ahead.
Riddle me this.
And riddle me this.
Which is
Batman, right? You said Batman.
Batman, but who you said always says this?
Oh yeah, that's a one phrase. Yeah. Or a one-ism.
One-ism.
That's a good way to say it. And let's see, Bob Ross's hidden codes, because even the titles, as you were saying, the titles of his show, if you look on YouTube, you'll see all the titles.
I know.
And they all are coded. They're all coded. And the phrases he says are coded.
Yeah. And some of the, if you listen, because as you know with television, there's always an episode title, even though we don't think of it, but then they'll go back. So I'm going to see if I can grab those really quick.
Yeah.
Everybody Needs a Friend, which kind of goes back to what we were talking
with
about.
Andrew Gold.
Kindness is Cool. Little Rascals, because that's them. Diana and John and their Little Rascals. Make Love to the Canvas. The Man Who Made It Happen. But what was... Yeah. It's a Bob's World After All. And Thanks Be to Bob.
Thanks be to Bob.
Those are pretty cool titles.
They are.
Knowing that is all code.
Yeah. And I did, we did together Robert Norman Ross, and in Jewish gematria it's 605, and it equals Gorgeous Girl, Clear as Day, and Crisis Actors. So that's pretty cool. And simple, it's 22 for, the 22nd, when JFK took himself out of the picture. Connect the dots. And Tree of Knowledge. And Tree of Knowledge is important because that's why everybody's in the hole they're in right now, because of what happened in the Garden of Eden, which, I talk about all the time. We don't need to beat a dead horse. And let's see. Not all of this is like coding, but I just thought I'd read off some of it. Okay, so Robert Norman Ross, he was on PBS, Public Broadcasting Service, from 83 to 94. And let's see, he had a wife that was a VR, not wife 2, JR, so Junior. So his second wife was Jane Ross. That's like Junior, JR. He had another wife. He was a busy man. It's fake, really. This whole thing is fake. Wasn't really married 3 times. He was in the U.S. Air Force, a master sergeant, like master, okay. And let's see, battles, Cold War. Okay. And oh yeah, I was looking up images of him painting online, and it shows him painting with his right hand. It shows him painting with his left hand. And that's because he's 2 different people, at least. He might be 3. We just kind of came up with that near the end, that he might be 3.
And a side note, going back to Andrew Gold, their hair kind of looks kind of the same, not identical, but
definitely.
And it could have been the time period that people wore their hair that way, but
yeah. Okay. Oh, and his right pointer finger was crooked like Junior. So at least at part of the time. And he used to bring baby animals, and it was usually squirrels, I think. And he'd put them in his pocket, maybe little tiny animals, and he'd paint with them sitting in his pocket. So there was a squirrel named Peapod. And let's see, it's Peapod, and simple is 57. It equals Wink, and I'll Be Back. So that's a fun one. And also I thought of, 2 peas in a pod because they're twins. The Johns are twins. Diana and Jackie are twins, all that. So, and Mr. Handy, back to a personal reference, designed the first shopping for Stop and Shop that was online shopping. So anybody who uses Peapod shopping, Mr. Handy designed that years ago.
How sweet, huh?
Yeah.
Oh, Bobette.
Bobette.
Yes.
Yeah, so one squirrel was Bobette. And you figured out it was a nickname for Roberta.
Right.
Yeah.
That's what we pulled up Bobette, and it's for Roberta. But the other thing I wanted to say, and I wanted to jump down to, is Sammy.
Oh, yeah.
So he had a squirrel he named Sammy, of course. Santa surfing with
Santa
Sammy.
surfing.
Yep.
What's up with Santa?
Yep.
Who is Santa surfing?
Who is Santa surfing?
Inquiring minds want to know.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah. Okay. Now this, okay. I guess the weirdest bunch of stuff. So in mathematics, 19 is the 8th prime number. And there was a reason, you know, I think it was how many episodes we're in a series or something. But anyway, I just went off. You know how I do that? I just change and I go wherever I feel like I have to go. So 19 is the 8th prime number. And it forms a sexy prime. This, believe it or not, this all has to do with Bob Ross. So when I was working with Bob Ross, all this came up. Sexy prime. And in 13, it's a twin prime. So we have twin in there, and we have a sexy prime. And then with 17, there's a cousin prime. So yeah, I'm going to end it there because I don't honestly know what I'm talking about. But I just thought the references, yeah, the references were interesting because I think there's a woman down inside of Bob Ross. I think there's a woman hiding in there, even though the shirt is, you know, down to his belly button almost.
Flatten the curve.
Open. Yeah, flatten the curve. That's another reason Flatten the Curve is around, because women were playing men. Diana has played men. Diana is Mr. C on original Mark Z. Diana's played President Trump. Probably many, many people that I don't know about. Let's see. Oh, and okay, Bob Ross. Yeah, he donated the majority of his paintings that he did to, you know, museums and things like that. There's even 3 in the Smithsonian. And what people seem to find more readily available, if you wanted to look for something to buy that he worked on, he used to do paintings on gold pans. You know, like people would use it for mining. Yeah. And so he'd turn the pan over, like a pie pan idea, I guess, and paint on that. So I guess that's available sometimes. But gold, right, ties back into Andrew Gold, the reset, the GCR, gold, silver. And he wanted to do a children's show, so children is tied in there, like Garden of Eden children. Let's see. I already told you the joy of painting, the second coming of Jesus. Okay, let's see. What else can we do here? Yeah, 31 seasons. And there's always Bob Ross marathons on YouTube.
Oh, I didn't realize
always.
That.
There's always, and it looks live because whoever's posting it, White Hats or whoever, it looks live.
Well, I think I also asked you that. I said if I pull him up and we read about certain things, whatever we were, you know, I was helping pull up at the moment. You said that you really think that it's all white hats anymore. That
I think so.
That write everything.
Yeah. Everything online just seems to be written for us for right now, you know. And it's either coded or it's kind of an obvious thing, you know. As you read it, you go, oh my gosh, this isn't real. Or, oh my gosh, this ties into what I've just been working on. Because it's, the Matrix, or I don't know what you want to call it. So they say that Bob Ross dropped out of school in 9th grade. And 9th is a big number in gematria because it's the
final number.
The final number before 10, you know, obviously. I mean, that's redundant, but yeah, so that's a big deal. Okay. Yeah, and every painting he did, he made 3 copies. There was like a copy did ahead of time, the first one, and then he'd paint one, and then he'd have a third one, and so there were 3. So to me, it almost means, does that mean that there were 3 playing Bob Ross? You know,
right?
Yeah, and there's a quote in here. There were 403 episodes. So you add the 4 and the 3, you got 7, God's most perfect number. And this is exactly what the article said. Instead, he earned his money. So he got 0 money from PBS.
Okay.
0. Instead, and I wonder why, because he didn't need the money, right? So instead, he earned his money from the Associated Bob Ross, and it didn't say line. It said linen, from the Associated Bob Ross Linen of Art Supplies. So I thought that was interesting. Now, did I do linen?
Is that the canvas, the linen?
Yeah, but they called it, yeah, see, instead he earned his money from the Associated Bob Ross. Can you do linen? Would you mind?
Okay, I'll do
linen. And just see linen. I thought I probably had done it. It also makes you think of the Shroud of Turin, you know, because that was the fine linen cloth, right? And they supposedly put it over his face, and the outline is on there. And so that could be another reference. Shroud of Turin, Jesus, because the joy of painting.
Okay, and coming. Hebrew is 114, and simple is 54.
Yeah, so there'll be dead sound here as I think you talk.
As she thinks. No, it's so great watching her in action do all this, and what just pops in her head, and how, you know, who's speaking to her, as she knows just like what to pull up.
Yeah. A Magdalene. Yeah. Right there, they're saying that we're talking about a woman. Yeah. So I won't keep going on, but
no.
And it equals decoder. That's in simple. And voice. Listen to the voice. It equals vagina. Okay, so we're talking about a woman here.
Yeah, there you go. I told you she knows what to pull up.
Let me entertain you.
To make you smile.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, like the viewers usually weren't learning how to paint watching him. They were listening because it was relaxing. You know, it was like just a thing to watch, and it's calm. And
he kind of told a story, didn't he, as he painted?
Yeah, and he would talk. Somewhere in here I've got it where he talks about values, and when he's talking about values of colors, he's talking about us living like morally and good values. So when you hear him talking about values, that's...
Well, I think that because I was just looking in how you kind of made it like how Juan tells stories when he talks.
He does.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes, he does.
And yeah.
There's so many things.
Yeah, he reportedly vowed after he left the Air Force, because he was a drill sergeant, to never raise his voice again. Well, that sounds like, you know, our Juan, Bob Ross, all these different characters are like calm, like SG and on. So,
well,
you know,
also Ross. I said, what is? For some reason, I was like, what is Ross? What's the definition of Ross? And it is the bark of a tree. And at the same time I was pulling that up, you were reading about the arm, and he said he was tired of barking at people.
Yep.
So
it's fun. Let's see. Okay, sorry. Okay, so Princess Diana was right-handed and Junior was left-handed. So, and we saw photos, you know, where he was painting with both hands. Okay, you don't need to know about her watch. Oh, this is just a funny aside about Diana. Okay, I can't skip this one. She wore 2 watches on her left arm. Okay, and Carolyn was a lefty, so that I thought that was interesting. There was no Carolyn Bessette Kennedy. That's what I get, you know, from previous decoding. There was never a Carolyn Bessette Kennedy. She was always Diana. I don't think they ever were really married. And that's just the way it is. But you can believe me or not, that's perfectly fine. But when she would get out of like the limo or whatever she was coming to an event in, when she was Princess Diana, she would hold a purse up in front of her, and she called it a cleavage bag, to cover her chest so that the press couldn't see. I never had that problem ever. And so that's so funny.
Yeah.
Okay, so that was written. This is all written for us to decode, even that little snippet of an article. Right. So a cleavage bag in simple is 66, which equals woman and blessed and all these, but it equals twin and shoes. Hashtag shoe comms. Yeah. Because that's what we're getting all the time when I work on things. Shoe comms. Because we're talking about Jackie was wearing the stiletto shoes whenever you saw Melania with these super spiky high heels and you wonder how she's walking. That was Jackie, in my opinion. And Diana is wearing more flat shoes. So, and both coming to the same height on President Trump, you know. So not possible if they're not two different people. Let's see. Okay, that's I got about the right-handed and then button shirt. Yeah, and flattening the curve. Yeah. Oh, okay. So I just did a whole bunch of quotes from I was just writing down almost everything he said from this live stream. Okay, follow all those angles. Okay, like look at things every which way. Follow the angles. Decode. Like rising again. Okay. And he said, put an almighty mountain. He didn't just say mountain. He said an almighty mountain. Get strong with it. And then he says, big trees. Now, I didn't do big trees, did I? Oh, okay. Drop it. So, yeah, timber. Drop it like timber. And also, when I think what they're going to happen is they're going to be on the ship with the beast event. You know, that's what I call it, the beast event. And they're going to drop in the water and fall apart into little bits and everything. And then they're going to rise again after a few days. And the liquid white, he used to put liquid, well, he called it liquid white, but he also called it magic white on the board. And it would stay slippery so that when he painted the next layer, everything would still move, even though it was oil paint. Right. So that was unusual, but you know, magic white. And let's see, don't want a dead tree lying out here. Drop him in, you know, and put some life in him, like they're dead, they're going to die as the witnesses, then they're going to come back again. Or as you said, like on the plane, dropping from, you know. Oh yeah, like how when he was on his plane and it crashed, dropping. Yeah, dropping. Yeah. And then put some life in him. And there they are. And when I heard him say it that way with R at the end, it made me think of R anon. And then he said, so many requests for buildings. And that to me was, everybody wants a home or they want a nice house, that kind of thing. So when he said that, I think that's was the gist of it. You know, they know what we want. They know what we need. Not just what we need, what we want. Right. You know. Or would like to have. Yeah. And, okay, we're really going to try to do some this year. I thought that was good. And he said, at home, you have unlimited time. He said that twice. So time is fake, you know. We're not supposed to be held back by time. We're supposed to be able to move around. And I'm sure, like, we'll see them as a character, Bob Ross, you know, and maybe we'll see him come back as Bob Ross first. And then he goes, oh, and I was really Junior and Diana, because that's who I think we're talking about here. You know, and as a quick side note, the other day I had to put a date, and when I put the date in there, I did it 3 times and I put 2017. Oh, really? May 17, 2017. And in my mind, I was doing it right. Like, oh, wow. And then all of a sudden it hit me. I'm like, oh, it's already 2023. Right. Like, I had why did 2017 pop up for me? Why was I even entering that date in there? Yeah. So it's just time doesn't matter and where you're really at and you're in that loop. Yeah. But the time loop. The time loop. The loop, the loop. The loop, the loop. The loop. The loop-de-loop. Okay, sorry, I'm good. Okay. Unlimited time. And he said, on this side, a little darker. Okay. And then he talks about a little door you can get in, like the road to heaven is it's a narrow path, right? It's a narrow path.
The straight and narrow.
Yeah. And I think that's how I took the door. And on this side, a little darker, like you don't want to go over there.
Nope.
You want to go to the light. That's dark to light, heaven and hell. And he says, cut off the door. And he said, you know, he's talking about painting, right? So literally cut off the door. And then he said, oh, yeah, I know what I was thinking. This is from my notes. Like there's only a certain time allowed. I really think there is a certain little, well, time is relevant, but there'll be a window
of opportunity
to go through it, to be the ones to move on, you know? Now, don't ask me how. Although I still think, I talked about this before, but only really briefly, that I think we're in a crater, right? You know, me and Godgevlamste, you know, we're like this, kind of. And that we're in a crater, and who knows, it's elliptical, weird shape or something, but I think it might be rounded on the bottom a little bit. Right. And we're just kind of, we're levitating in this crater, and that what we're seeing up there in the, the dome, I don't want to say dome, that doesn't sound right. Right. The dome that we see over us is a reflection of all the little moon craters. So the stars are really little moon craters reflecting. That's, if you watch Crater Earth by Godgevlamste, I can't say his name, just watch the first 6, and they're very short episodes, and you'll kind of get why I think that. And
on the to-do list.
Yeah, don't leave now.
Yeah.
Just wait. And that I think we're in it, and maybe we're moving right now, maybe, I don't know. But at some point, I think we're going to spin. It may be slow, maybe fast, whatever. And that we're going to move over to this other moon crater. You can find it on a map of the moon, and it's Linne with a little accent that I don't know what it's called. AQ? I don't know. And I think that's what's going to happen. So that's where I think everybody came, well, not everybody, but I think that's where we're going back to, and that's when everything will be great. Maybe it's after the Beast event. Let me know what you think, okay? So, I really like to hear what you guys think. So besides, you know, which should we work on next, which episode or something.
Right. What should we decode on
next? What should we decode on next? Let me know what you think about that weird theory about spinning and moving to a moon crater from one crater.
Yeah. And I'll have to remind you to put that in the comments so they remember what to go look up.
Right.
Go watch.
Right.
Okay.
Let's see. Oh, and he would always talk about his equipment, you know, and he talked about his fan brush, and let's see, that's in Hebrew, it's 427, and it equals a lot of people. Like a lot of people played him, I think. And it equals Mr. Poole, and that's like loop backwards. So we were talking about a time loop. And there's Mr. Poole, who is on Telegram and probably the other sites too. Social media, I mean. And Mr. Poole gives really difficult clues, and people just flock to it and try to figure it out. So Q said, follow the loop. I think that's kind of what he's referencing.
Because everything's a mirror, so follow the pool.
Yeah. Okay, and he said grassy areas, and it equals simulation. And I thought that was good. And that was in, let's see, that must have been Jewish. And then grassy areas in simple is Lady Diana, and Twin Soul, and this is a hoax. So grassy areas makes you also think of grassy knoll, right? You know?
Oh yeah, the famous phrase.
Yep. And let's see. Anyway, I won't go into all that. There's too many pages. Too many pages. Oh, and he mentioned little peaks, you know, almost like peeking out from a mask or something that made me think of that. And in Jewish, there was 2 genders. I found you, and God hoax, because they're hoaxing us. You do this, yeah.
Oh, the Kennedys.
Yeah.
It ain't no man. Cure for cancer. Bloody Mary.
Yeah.
And strongly. Word presidents, Trump says a lot. Strongly.
I strongly feel, yeah.
Yes.
And the guy I was just talking about.
Go ahead.
How would you say it? G-O-D. There's God in the name. Godgevlamste. Godgevlamste, maybe. And so the Kennedys equals that. And he's the one that does Crater Earth. So it all ties together.
And the other thing I was going to bring up as really quick is that when we were talking today, and we were talking about phrases, how phrases become like catchphrases, how they're popular.
Yeah.
And you were stating that you think they're the ones who put out the phrases we use.
Yeah. The common phrases and common phrases equals John F. Kennedy Jr.
And wasn't it dead something or
I don't remember, but I remember the first
we
part.
were like, it was like, how do these things become, even the word to describe something, you're like, well, that would be the common word, but it's like they create whatever word it is, why we slangly use it a certain way.
I like that. I like what you said. That's good. Let's see. I don't know. I don't even know what this is, but I've got myself mixed up with my notes, and you know how I am. I get mixed up. But one of these things matched female prison escapee, because I think the guys, the Adams and the Eves, the witnesses, the 4 witnesses, because I always think it's 4, not 2 in the Bible, but they could have been put in like a jail or something, but they're like, I don't know. They're like out on good behavior. That's how I look at what's going on. And they have to do X, Y, and Z that God's telling them to do, who I think is Trump. And I know a lot of you think that's nuts, but anyway. And, he's telling them, okay, now you have to do this. And I think they can be in many places at once. I really do, because otherwise it's impossible.
Right.
It's just impossible. So if time is irrelevant, I'm sure they can do that, and another, so in Hebrew, female prison escapee, and then we have simple is 141, and it's tag your it. So they're taking turns playing Bob Ross, and it's also here's Johnny, and John written 3 times, like John. So that's pretty cool. Oh, and 141 is me. Yeah. Mrs. HandyRU, and Mark Atwood and Tom.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, and good company. So you want to do this one?
I'll start. Sometimes it's hard to read handwriting.
I know, my handwriting is so awful.
But was Bob Ross JFK Jr.?
Yeah.
The matches makes it sound like Junior and Diana could have taken turns. So is that the Hebrew, right?
Yeah.
265 is Wonder Woman and Superman. She found me when I was lost. I am my beloved, and my beloved is me. Let us pray for one another to be made whole. John F. K. Jr. Loves her. What you see in me, I see in you. That's so sweet.
Isn't it?
And then in simple gematria, it's 188, which is President Kennedy. Close Encounters, which I told you I love that movie.
Yeah.
A Top Secret Twin, Central, like Together, Intelligence. That's the Truth. Latter-day Saints.
Yeah, plural.
Which, yes. Trump Towers, More Than One. 2 Lovebirds. 2 White Doves, which we talked about. Juan talks about the white doves.
Yep.
And Story of My Life. What Are You Hiding? Divine Surprise. Queen of the World. And What If I Told You?
That's 2 phrases, yep.
Yeah.
What if I told you, like, and you
never know.
You never know.
So Going back to that white doves, I mean, that was when you were saying they were almost like doves or a sacrifice.
Yeah.
So if you didn't see any of that, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, let's see. Yeah, I don't think I need to go into too much more. Let me see. Oh, no, I can't skip Riddle Me This. Did we do that one?
Yeah, we did.
We did that one. Okay. Yeah. Oh, Happy Little Clouds. You know how you'd say, like, talk about trees and clouds and all that? Well, Happy Little Clouds in Jewish or Hebrew is 1150. It's John Boy. And mankind heard God's voice, because that's who you're hearing. One of,
right.
All part of God. Yep. One of them. And let's see. I don't know if that's... Oh, and Your Turn. Yeah. And Really God. And Diana Francis Spencer. So we've got John and we have Diana. Okay. And then in simple, it's one of our phrases for the movement, where we go one, we go all. But it's the key part is we, more than one. Now it is Timberlark. And so Happy Little Clouds also equals the Book of Revelation and John F. Kennedy Jr. So I remember when President Trump was saying, read the transcripts all the time about the president of Ukraine. He'd say, read the transcripts, and there's nothing wrong with what he wrote and all that. Well, that was all pretend anyway. And but every time he said read the transcripts, he was saying John F. Kennedy Jr.
I try not to chuckle on those,
I know,
but I can't help it.
It's more fun when you chuckle. And then, so John F. Kennedy Jr. also equals when celebrities fake death. And then we have the people, like I wrote in here more than one, the people have spoken, because it's not just one playing Bob Ross. Yeah, so anyway, so we did this. Oh, yeah, Robert Ross. I don't think we did Bob Ross, and then we did Robert Norman Ross.
Right.
This one is just Robert Ross, and you've got the 2 R's.
Right.
So I was thinking, I think I've mentioned this before, when we had that post on the boards way back, and everybody started looking at Junior because of the R post.
Right.
And R and on. Well, I think that there's 2 R's, and that okay, so Diana is a 9 and Junior is a 9, and I think together they're the 18, which is R. That's kind of the way I'm looking at it.
And to interrupt you, is when you mentioned 9 before, when he finished 9th grade, 9 is the number of completion.
Oh, completion. All right.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes. So when you just said they're both 9s, they're completion.
That makes sense. Okay. So Robert Ross and Jewish gematria is bisexual. Okay. So it's getting really obvious what's going on with Bob Ross. And by the book, like Book of Revelations, or Revelation, I should say. But that's the YouTube site where I learned gematria. It's so cool. I learned that at least a year, or maybe even, I don't remember, even 2 years before I did a channel. And so I don't do it the same way as everybody else.
Right.
Because I learned it in the book from by the book. That came out really bad. But learned it. And let's see. You can still find by the book on Rumble. You just have to really look for how they taught gematria way back. Let's see. Oh, and Robert Ross, many becomes one. Bring the family and triple goddess. So a lot of references to several. Okay. Oh, we're still not committed. This is quotes from his a marathon, a YouTube marathon, and I think that one was called ASMR marathon. We're not committed. Still have time, and it almost makes me think like committed, like I'm not a prisoner yet, but I will be. I think they're going to be in chains. You know how in A Christmas Carol, Marley would show up, right? And he'd be all in chains and dragging the chains and everything. I think that's what it's going to look like on the ship before that beast event happens. I really do. It's going to be awful.
Oh.
It's going to be awful. And then boop,
boop,
boop, into the water. I know. But
no.
Oh, and yeah, still have time. This is all quotes still from Bob Ross. Still have time. Start making some big decisions.
Right.
Like, they've got to make big decisions. I don't think they're really afraid, but I think they're nervous. And it says, okay to be a little nervous. So, you know, he's probably talking about that moment about like, plunk, I'm going to put a tree right here over my beautiful background. And that's a big decision,
right,
to do that. But he's talking way beyond that. And this old gardener didn't care. He picked up whatever he could. So he probably had, he didn't do people, but he probably had a little garden shack nearby and a tool leaning on it. I don't remember now. But you know, do you remember President Trump had rallies, and it was, I can't remember, it would say something about farmers on it. They were green hats. They looked like John Deere hats because they were green and they had yellow writing on them. And he'd say, oh, the farmers are going to have to buy bigger tractors. And he'd have all the farmers and the equipment manufacturers. And you know, the economy is going to really take off and you have to buy bigger tractors. But I also have a friend that talks about, like an angel anon, talks about pray for the farmers.
Yeah.
Pray for the farmers. And the farmers are the Adams and Eves. They were farmers.
Oh, yeah.
And they're the witnesses. And they're the ones who are going to need the prayers.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I think. So, because he said this old gardener didn't care. Indications, highlights, not interested in a lot of Bushes. President Bush and Mrs. Bush. And Junior Bush. And not interested in a lot of Bushes.
Nope.
Nix them. And then he says right after that, this is all in a row. I didn't edit or move it around. And he said, there's one of the eaves. Okay, eave of a building, like the gardener's little shack or a barn or something. Mm-hmm. Eaves, like Adam and Eve, right? There's one of the eaves. What a thing to say, right? You're painting and you go, oh, there's one of the eaves. Like, that's an odd thing to say. So 2 eaves. And he said, not committed, just having fun. And he said, turn it into reflections, like twins again. He's doing it this time. You may be right. When he said that, I was so excited because,
I know,
you know, at the cross, Jesus didn't, this is all my decoding theories. He didn't die. He looked like he died. I think he was hurt badly, but he didn't die there, which would have stopped the generational curses,
right?
Which I think are still happening. And that's part of the problems we have. But yeah, I think they took him down. They gave him something that made him look dead, right?
Right.
And, you know, he exited. He just exited. Okay. But he's doing it this time. I think, you know, I think it's the 4 of them will have to go through this beast thing. So it's not even just Jesus who was back at the cross. And I think there should have been a Mary up there with him. That's just a passing thing I keep getting. But let me know what you think. I'd love to hear your feedback. Just pause the video, you know, put a comment. Let's see. Oh, if I didn't cover the knife, so he had a what do you call it?
Like a spatula?
Yeah, that little skinny knife, an artist's knife.
Oh, yeah.
There's a nickname. Anyway, if I didn't cover the knife, there would be a flare on TV. So the literal thing he's saying is he put masking tape on the back. Masking. And a flare on TV because it's going to look like, you know, the nuclear boom.
Right.
You know, to me, that was a calm for that. A flare on TV. Or, you know, rocket flares like you see over Israel, that kind of thing on footage, fake footage. And then he said, the director would scream at me, she's mean. Okay. The director, because he's Flair on TV and then mentioning director. And she's mean. And to me, that's the fake footage we're going to see during all these emergency alerts that will happen over and over and over again. Probably a lot of them produced by Alfred Hitchcock. I really think so. Because he has popped up. Shouldn't say that about Sally. She produces lots of shows for us. Oh, and I have a thing about Sally, too. I don't have it in front of me. Okay. And Birds Chirping. Alfred Hitchcock had that movie, The Birds.
Yeah.
That is such a scary movie to me. So, yeah, birds raise Cain. So he brings up Cain.
Right.
I think they might have exited Cain. Yeah, I was going to say exited, but yeah. So I don't think the story of Cain and Abel is what we think. I think that they might have been the ones
for both Cain and Abel, and not,
possibly, and more, because they were okay, so think about it. So the reason I think this is, if they're okay, so it started. I think it started with Eve, but it may not have been, right? I don't know. It could have been both at the same time,
right?
But followed the devil. Well, what does the devil do? The devil wants you to sacrifice little ones, right? That's what's been going on, that we all, right? So it isn't really all that weird to think that that's what happened with them,
right?
If they were following the wrong God. So, okay. Here, you do this part. It's a little easier to read, maybe, because I scribble.
Oh, okay. Trees are a lot like people. They're all different. Like Bob Ross is different.
Different people.
Trees are 6'10", which is that simple or Hebrew?
Jewish or Hebrew.
Okay.
Yeah.
JK, Christ Queen, Family Time. Oh, Family Time's good.
Family Time, yeah.
And then simple, it's 197. Am I making myself clear?
Right.
Reveal hidden identity. Women from Trump, for Trump, excuse me. Women for Trump. Transsexual wife. And then, anybody seen my baby? O positive
Anybody
bloods.
see my baby?
Yeah.
Like we just talked about.
And O positive bloods.
And our friend Charmaine, we both are friends with Charmaine. And she started as a viewer. Hi Charmaine, we love you. She showed me photos or clips or something of President Kennedy's card. I guess all the guys or ladies in the Senate and in the House, they have to have a blood ID card. So if any trauma happened to them while they were serving in Washington or abroad, then everybody knew what blood type they were. And it was in the Gettysburg Museum. Matter of fact, that's where my sister-in-law works. But it was even there, so it's got provenance. Now, granted, there's evil things, Gettysburg, maybe there's bad stuff there, right? And maybe there's tunnels under there, I don't know. But I just thought it was interesting that she showed it to me, where everybody's saying that, it's what, AB negative is the story?
Yeah, I think so.
Kind of the storyline we hear a lot of.
Right.
But I've got a feeling O positive, and that's the most common blood type. Yeah. So one would think he'd want to be one with the people, kind of.
Right.
Not rare.
Right.
Maybe. What do you think?
I'm not sure. I do know that O negative is the universal blood.
Oh, is it? That's the universal, not positive.
O negative is universal for donating, but I think you're right. O positive is the most common blood type.
Okay.
So yeah, a little bit about that. I don't know. Yeah. It's kind of funny that it's in there and just like, oh, positive.
Right.
Instead of O positive, but O positive.
Right.
All this water has to be contained. Yeah,
because I think it'll look like tsunami floods and all that in our fake
and so
scenario.
He's probably painting and showing the water but there has to be boundaries around the water.
Yeah.
My dad was the best slingshot user in the country.
Yeah, a David reference.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think Junior or Diana, who knows, because they change sexes in different lives. was David.
Yeah.
You know, like I've probably been a guy. I sound like a guy. I've got the hoarsest voice, you know.
Oh.
But I'm not a guy, and I'm not wearing a mask, and people think I do because I've got weird earlobes. I've got a short and a long earlobe. I've had everybody look at my face and pick it apart. I'm with her
in person, and I've never noticed.
Yeah, nobody really. It was hard to wear earrings. Okay, let's see. I think we've probably done enough. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, I think we did the gist of Bob Ross.
Yeah, so I really think, I really think that it was Diana, and possibly, well, right at the end here.
There's a lot more notes.
Yeah, there's a couple more notes. Oh, and he's right here. A little practice, you'll be shocked at what you can do. This is a quote from him. That's what we'll be doing, all this stuff that we would be, you know, Jesus, or you know, all those people,
and I think
do.
Is Christ is Christ-like,
right?
Christ-like,
right?
Yeah,
right. And I like to move mountains sometimes. Now, Juan not long ago said, if there was a mountain and it was going, you know, really it was a volcano, it was going to blow up and it was going to destroy a city. He said, if everybody got together and prayed about it, we would move the mountain. We could move the mountain to the ocean where it would blow up and not hurt anybody. So he even brought that up. Let's see. Let's make some big decisions here. And then he says different values. So he's not just talking about color. He's talking about our values. Yep. So anyway, yeah, happy painting was another phrase he would say near the end, and it equals dirty trick because it's a fake show, right? And it's a movie, and Royal Ascot. So we got a Diana reference. Right. I am a princess, and then we have a Kennedy reference. Please, Mr. Kennedy. Oh, and in that was simple. In Jewish, it's behind blue eyes, and Diana had those vivid blue eyes. Right. And I think, so I don't know which way it went. Like, so she was always Carolyn, in my opinion. So Diana, so did she wear contacts to make her eyes really blue as Princess Diana? Or maybe they really were really blue. And then somebody could say, well, how could she have been Carolyn? Carolyn had very light blue eyes. Contacts, just like in the movies, you know, changing your eye color. And in The Wizard of Oz, even Dorothy, you could even dye my eyes to match my gown. Right. Jolly old town, you know. She said that. So they were putting comms out there even then. Yeah. And happy painting in simple is 156. It's Patrick Kennedy, but it's also Robert Kennedy. So was Bobby also playing one of, you know, I don't know. So I tried, a Bob Ross. So is Bobby, I'll get it right. Is Bobby Bob Ross 2? In Jewish, it's 11:19. My life is a simulation. JFK has risen from the dead. Jack Russell and hidden twin, cruel deceiver. So I don't know. Yeah, why don't you do down there or something, and then we'll end on that. Okay. I think you guys are probably tired.
All right. So it was always you. Be unique, not the same. I love that. Strongly together. I love you, sister. Conspiracy theory. I tried Bob Ross. So this is what you did. You tried Bob Ross. Is also Bobby Kennedy. Yep. In Jewish Gematria 1485. Whole trick to it all. Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah. To me, that was like a little confirmation. Yes, right. So Bobby must be one of them, maybe.
Today marks the third day. So you always say the third day is when he rose, which you don't think he really died. You think they took him down. We are the chosen ones. He was and is to come. Essential worker.
So essential workers seemed fun to me because, so it was Bobby Kennedy, Bob Ross, right? Right. Essential worker.
That's right.
Like, was he? Yeah, that kind of sounds like it.
let's see. And then in Simple Demontia, 261, John Fitzgerald Kennedy Jr., Caroline Bassett Kennedy.
Yeah.
And
COVID, COVID.
Yeah, C19.
Transhumanism, like more than one person. That was, you got the gist of it. Another one that was interesting was Stronger Together. You know, like that was a Hillary campaign phrase, but whatever.
Yeah, so that was it for Bob Ross today.
Yeah.
I hope you enjoyed that as much as I did, kind of picking up the attitude. Oh,
I got something pretty with you guys. Can you see it?
Yeah.
Me and my bony wrist.
So it's a chakra bracelet that I gave Mrs. Handy.
So nice.
And it's imprinted with all the different chakra frequencies plus abundance and gratitude. So on that note, I wanted to say thank you for everybody that reached out and, you know, donated and got a scan and learned about frequency scanning. And we were trying to get everybody's physical address. So Kathy was writing thank you cards. I think there might be a couple of you that I've reached out to. So I think we're still waiting for replies, as well as Kathy, if you're out there. I know you emailed in and I did email you back. I don't know, you could look in your spam or your junk mail. But the best thing to do now is just go right to my website, which is RR-Breathe. So RRBREATHE.com.
Can you see that?
And there'll be a say that book an appointment with me. And in the comments, you can just put, you know, whatever you want to say, but also make sure you put MrsHandyRU. And then also you can see all the different scans and see what really is in, like, is it an inner voice or a vital scan? And what does it mean? And feel free to just reach out to me and ask me. I've talked to a lot of people. A lot of people were really curious and wanted to learn as well as help. So I think it was a great time. So we're just going to keep going with it. If you want, you know, half the proceeds will go to Mr. Handy. And it's a really great tool and really late learning. And also, I'd like you guys to know that they've already started the paperwork. Kathy's children were here, and they started the paperwork
to go see Dr. BURZYNSKI in Houston. And we found out something awesome, that he does work with the program, the government program that President Trump got through with the executive order, right to try. And that's the point we're at, where there's no other options. And yeah, we've had some bad news, but we're not taking it as bad news, really. And so, you know, he's having a hard time talking more and different things. But we're going to think positive, and so they help fill out the paperwork so that I'm hoping within 2 weeks we'll find out, you know, when. First they have to accept you, and then we find out kind of when. And so all we pretty much have to pay for is the airfare from New Hampshire to Houston, and lodging and food, and that's it. So it's a lot less than I thought when I was doing the GoFundMe. Well, I still am, but you know, go ahead.
But it's still a lot of money. And today the speech therapist came over because he's having a little bit of hard time getting words out. And so, you know, even I always say for Kathy, because she's a caretaker, and it gives her a little bit of a break. Yeah. And so
I appreciate that.
Yeah. And then some people ask, they're like, oh, do you still talk to Kathy? And I'm like, I think I talked to you
more than most people.
When her family was here from out of state, I tried to stay away, but I talked to her all the time. So we kind of have a girls' day. Yeah, it's really fun. We have such a good time, and I appreciate Lisa so much. And I just want to thank you for helping, you know, Mr. Handy. Yeah. And like I said, anybody just reach out. You can, and like I said, you can always look at the Instagram if you want to see some other detail. Or just shoot me a message from my website, and Kathy will have all the notes in the notes section. Yeah. So is that it good for today? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Thanks, really fun. And don't forget, make sure that you watch that movie that will be in the notes, as well as we'll have the list of all the different ones, and maybe you guys see who you want to decode next. Yeah, we will. Okay. Love you all. Love you. Bye. Bye.